Hello and welcome to New You Wow Going Places podcast, where we celebrate all our connections in the community and we help women everywhere achieve epic breakthroughs. Today, we're actually honored to be joined by Tashena Gonzales. She runs the educational service VidActiva, and she's a certified holistic wellness coach, mindfulness leader, and development coach. A smooth operator in both one-on-one and group settings, Tashena draws on her vast wealth of knowledge to help others via weekly appointments, lunch and learns, and other coaching opportunities during her day job as an automotive professional. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tashena. How are you?
Wonderful.
Fantastic. And we do want to start with a little bit of an icebreaker today. So if you could please tell us something interesting about yourself that most people do not know, a bit of a hidden gem.
Well, I actually graduated at 16 and I was not homeschooled. Most people, when I tell them that I would graduate at 16, are like, oh, you're homeschooled, so you could go at your own pace. But I graduated from a traditional high school at 16. I actually went to a private school when I was in elementary school, and I had the opportunity to do third and fourth grade in the same year. So I was double promoted. And then I was able to graduate at the age of 16 from high school.
That is phenomenal. And would you say that was just a life-changing experience for you to be ahead by a couple years then, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it allowed me to kind of take my time a little bit when it came to college and everything, and still, find what I needed to do and still be on track.
Beautiful, beautiful. Kudos to you. And I can only imagine how exhilarating that could be, because especially when you're at that age, the sooner you can get out of school, the better.
Absolutely.
But it said that the real school of hard knocks will be life itself. So we're curious if you can tell us more about your professional journey, specifically with the many hats that you wear, any roadblocks that you've had to overcome.
Well, roadblocks in my professional journey, first of all, was a mental roadblock. As far as becoming an automotive professional, This is not something that I wanted to do whatsoever. It was not on my radar. I thought about doing perhaps real estate, and I ended up getting just into data entry in the real estate industry. But I also wanted to help individuals. And so, as you know, we have an opportunity to do volunteer Bible preaching. And so that was my main focus. And so I was working part-time for a little bit. And then I actually got sick and didn't have a job for a while. And so I was looking for another job that I needed medical insurance. And I decided, okay, I'm going to go full-time. And I'm looking to use my Spanish, because I'm bilingual in Spanish. I'm looking for this, and this. And I found a job in the automotive industry in the area of supply chain that did exactly that. And then there was another challenge later when we came to 2008. Everyone was affected. I didn't work directly for General Motors at that time. I was with a contract, and our contracts were being put up for renewal at the time. And then I'm currently divorced, but my then husband, he lost his job, and so I had some financial struggles at that time. We were both in the automotive industry, and so I ended up going out and finding another job. And within a period of 4 years, I found a new job, and then I went direct with General Motors, and then I was able to get 2 promotions in 2 or 3 years there. And so the amazing part is that while that was a difficult tragedy at that point in time, it actually was the thing that propelled me within 4 to 5 years to double my own income. And so it was by taking the bull by the horns and overcoming, it was a good ending to it.
That is fantastic. And it's almost like you put yourself on a trajectory for success, because you mentioned that first there was a mental element and you knew you had to shift. And once you were able to conquer that and decide you're not going to let your circumstances hold you back, the only thing that's, I guess, sometimes limiting with life circumstances is we think this is it. But you had vision, and you knew that if you kept going, big things would come. So, wow, to accomplish so much in such a short amount of time. And it's interesting you referenced that time frame. That 2008 year was tough for me too. I think about the time I went through my second layoff, and the economy was just all out terrible. And so same, my husband now and myself both got laid off.
Yeah.
And it was like, what are we going to do? But
Right.
then you find that things can lead to opening doors and better than ever, but you just got to stay positive. So if you don't mind, could you share one of your fondest childhood memories, something that really carries you through a rough day when you think back?
Fondest childhood memory. So, I'm very open with everyone that I had a pretty rough childhood, unfortunately. But a lot of the things where I have really good memories are when I was in track, actually, because I feel like that helped me overcome, and that's where I learned how to be a champion. Really, that's where I learned. And so there is one. I was actually, funny enough, I was listening to my own motivational videos yesterday, and I was reminded of some of my track stories, and again, one of the things that, like, even just starting track for me, one of the things I've been, because I'm going through a little bit of a tough season right now, just reminding, there was a quote that says, there's two quotes actually that I was reminded of. One is, "The wound is where the light enters you," by Rumi.
Nice.
And there's a longer version of it, but that's the end of the quote. And then there's another one by another, I think, Indian poet, that is, I'm blooming from the spot that the wound was in. And so when I started track, getting my first medal was like so amazing, because I had always been fast, but I didn't know what track was. I didn't know, I didn't do it sport. And so 40-yard dash up the street and my kicks or whatever, I would beat the kids. But then when I started track, I had to do 5-mile runs.
Right.
And I was like, I'm a sprinter. Why do I got to run 5 miles? And I was literally in the back of the pack. And I was in pain every day. I legit, for the first month of track in 10th grade, was going to quit every single day, because my lungs hurt because I had asthma.
Oh my.
And my body hurt because I had not trained like that. I didn't realize what doing a sport really was. I just ran up the street with the kids once in a while, right? So the moment that I finally got my first medal, because it wasn't like at the very first meet, like that was the sense of accomplishment, because it was like, not only was I almost wasn't here because I thought about quitting so many times, but I got a medal.
Congrats. Oh my God, that had to feel amazing.
Yeah.
And you said for the first 30 days, you felt like quitting.
Every single day.
Every day. When that thought occurred to you, what got you past it? Like, what got you to keep going?
The end. The one of the main things was, because I had asthma when I was in 9th grade, actually, I went to my doctor. I said, "Hey, I failed this step test. Can you give me a note so that I can, get out of some of this stuff in gym class?" And he's like, "I could, but that's not what I want you to do." He's like, "I think that you should run track, do tennis, or do soccer and strengthen your lungs. If I give you a note, I'm writing a note for you to be crippled for the rest of your life. And I don't want to do that."
Wow.
And so I had that he was like, "This is something that you need to do." And then I thought about that medal all the time. That's what I thought about. I was like, if I quit, I'm never going to get a medal. But if I stay, I can be a champion. So that's what I would think about, those two things. This is for my health. This is what my doctor told me to do. And I want to be a champion.
Fantastic. And isn't it beautiful how many times, if we don't see it in ourselves, it takes someone nudging us a little bit, giving us a different outlook. And when they say or challenge, then you realize, if I can be seen that way, what else can I do? So I think that's phenomenal. And, you mentioned an expression that it was track where you became a champion.
Yes.
Why do you think so? Why was that?
Because again, there were so many things that you had to overcome at so many different steps. And a lot of it was mental sometimes. There's so many things that you have to overcome that are mental, and there's so many things that you have to overcome that were physical.
Right.
And so the first part was the physical part, because I had to, again, I had body pain for the first month. I was like, my legs have never done this before. Every day in a row, I had body pain. I had not trained like that before. And then I had burning sensation in my lungs from the asthma. And then there were just times where it's like, it's raining. where I was actually up north in Michigan, so it was like it's snowing for the first track meet.
Mm,
Um, just all these other things, and then when you get to the actual track meet, like I did long jump. Part of long jump is mental because you got to get your steps right. I was in relays. Part of it
mm-hmm,
is strategic
mm-hmm,
because you have to get your handoffs right. You have to make sure that you take off at the right. You got to come out the blocks. There's so many things that you have to learn and put together
mm-hmm,
in order to just get to the finish line. And then there's so many things that have to come together for you to win. And then
mm-hmm.
there's so many things that have to come together for you to get a medal, to be like at the top 3. So all of the things that I learned about endurance and teamwork and just making sure that you stick to your goals and planning, and I can create my own exercise schedule. All those things that I learned, all of those
Mm-hmm.
pieces
Mm-hmm.
help me have resilience for other things in the future.
Applause to you. And, a lot of what it sounds like you're describing is discipline. You know, you have to go through it to get through it.
Yes.
And, when you can create an element of self discipline instead of
Yes.
forcing outside elements to discipline you, you
Yes.
become bigger than ever. And what you were describing too, it made me think of Simone Biles. I
Mm-hmm.
was looking at some of her coverage of late, and the fact that she's won her 7th title at
Yeah.
24, you know,
Right.
and
Right.
again, the judges kept emphasizing she makes it look easy,
Right.
but all those pieces and
Right.
components that you just described, it's bigger than executing the flip or that particular move. It's
Right.
the training that went into it, the
Right.
discipline, and the every day getting up and determined focus on an outcome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you had that journey. And,
Yeah.
I think the beautiful thing about life too is you ain't done yet. You don't know what else
Absolutely.
is coming your way, but those foundations that you established then are serving you very well. So wonderful. And could you speak to us a little bit more about the mind body connection? As a holistic wellness coach, you're looking, I'm sure, to engage not just one part of the person, but everything. What's your outlook on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a class that I actually did on the 8 dimensions of wellness. And it's the more that I dive deep into it, the more important it really is, because like I think about it when I started out as a holistic wellness coach, and the evolution that I've done. I was just 100% focused on the physical,
Mm,
and what are the things that you can do naturally
mhm.
instead, and minimize. I have nothing against doctors. I have a medical condition. I go to a bunch of specialists for what I'm going through right now. But what can I do naturally? What can I eat? How is exercise going to affect my body? That's the only thing that I looked at when I started being a holistic wellness coach, like 6 years ago.
Okay.
And then I started realizing that I had emotional things coming up. And so then I started using certain things, deep breathing and essential oils, for my emotions.
Okay.
And really, in the beginning, a lot of things that I was doing was just to temper or to minimize my emotions. And now that, like, when everything started happening last year in March, there were a lot of deep emotions. Like, I have just came up on my 4-year anniversary of my divorce, which is one of the reasons why I'm kind of in my feelings.
That's
a
no,
couple,
that's tough.
and I had, when my ex left, like I had a whole bunch of family stuff going on, and I was doing my day job, and I was doing my side hustle, and I was doing the Bible preaching, and so I never had time to pause. And then last year hit, and I was off. I was not working for 6 weeks, and I was sitting at home alone
Mm,
with my
mm,
thoughts. I couldn't be around my family. Like, I didn't see my family for 6 months at the beginning of it.
mhm,
And so I had to start doing some more deep work. And
mhm.
then and that has continued until now, where now I'm doing some trauma work, because like I mentioned, I had a severely abusive childhood, every way imaginable. Sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, everything. And so now I'm doing some deep trauma work. And the more that I alleviate my emotions, the less body stress I have, the less tension I have, the easier it is for me to to concentrate. And so there's a very direct connection with our emotions and our physical well-being, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can take it even further. When it comes to the 8 dimensions of wellness, you also have environmental wellness. So the more toxins you have in your home, the sicker you're going to be as well. So you need to start eliminating those toxins. And you have just mental wellness, social wellness, being able to have intellectual conversations with people, being able to interact some way socially with people. All of those things together really creates a state of well-being.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, you put it so succinctly. And as I listen to some of what you've gone through, I almost feel like I'm looking in the mirror, because you're absolutely right. It's all those elements of what you've gone through in the past that shape you as you are now. But there can be people in the exact same circumstances who have very different outcomes if they don't do the work.
Right.
And, it's going on 20 years now for me as a survivor of divorce. I am currently happily married to a man that is such a blessing. But when I think back to what I went through with that divorce,
Yeah.
I deem it as if you're going through a death.
Yes.
And, you're right. If you don't process those emotions, and, I think a lot of us, especially as women with so much on our plates, we tend to mask that with
Yep.
getting even busier and doing things
Absolutely.
aside from that. But I'm here to tell you, when you don't face it, it's coming back and knocking at your door. So
Yep.
I think it's wonderful that you took the time. And, although it might be because the pandemic kind of put you in a position to face
Right.
a lot of emotions that were buried, but the fact that you're doing the work, it's just like someone who goes to the gym. When you put in the work, muscles come out of that. But if you don't use the muscle, you atrophy and you get weaker. So, we can run or we can charge, and we can get it done. So, wishing you again continued success as you work through that, and celebrating the fact that you're honest and open, because we never know who's listening that can benefit from knowing emotions are not your enemy. They
They're
can
not.
give you significant power to get through to the next level. But the worst thing we can do is bury them deep. We don't want to be the ostrich with our head in the sand. We have to stand tall and know we're going to get through it. We're going to be okay. And, really quick, if there's anyone out there who's looking for an element of communality, definitely take a look over at newuwow.com so you can see there is others that are going through the same thing, and that can help lift you past that. Sometimes you need a helping hand and a lift, and there's nothing wrong with that. Strength in numbers. But we are curious, Tashena, what specifically led to your decision to pursue a career as a holistic wellness coach? What was the turning point for you?
Me being miserable. So, I felt like I was still relatively young in my early 30s.
Age ain't nothing but a number, honey.
I started having issue after issue after issue, and they just came too fast for me. I'm not like, when you talk about people that use herbs, because I'm certified in herbs and mindfulness, and don't look like that person, and I don't come from those people. I'm not the middle-aged homeschool blonde mom with 2.5 kids and 1.4 dogs like that. I'm not what you typically see as the crunchy person, and I never really was the crunchy person. I did vitamins, vitamins, my doctor suggested vitamins, but essential oils, mixing herbs together, looking at different ingredients and teas, that was not really me. I come from the automotive industry, and there we have Buffalo Wild Wings once a week, and we have pizza parties, and we have either 3 cups of coffee or a Monster energy drink to get us through the day. And that's life.
Yeah.
And we exercise. Like most of the directors are marathon runners. Like, we exercise. We understand exercise, but super, super good eating. We'll talk about having a salad here or a vegan meal here, but super, super good eating, nah. And you just get to your 30s and you either get high cholesterol or you get high blood pressure, and you just accept it. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
But for me, my stuff came boom, 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 and I was miserable. I was like, I had gut issues first. And then I had high blood pressure. And then I started to have hormone issues. I started excessively bleeding. And then I was in an accident, 2 accidents actually in a period of 6 months. So this was from 2012 to 2014. So I am hormonal, I have gut issues, I'm on 7 medications, I feel horrible, I got body pain from the accidents, and I'm talking to everybody else in their early 30s, and a lot of them already had body parts taken out, and they all are exhausted, and they all have body pain, and I'm like, first of all, I think God put that stuff in for a reason. I don't think we should take it out. Second of all, why does everybody feel miserable? This doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem right at all. And so I just started Googling my way to good health. I was like, I gotta find a solution because I'm evil. Nobody likes me. I can't live like this for, I don't know, 30, 40, I don't know how long. So I just started Googling and started spending like $200 worth of stuff on Amazon and just trying to pick stuff together. And then I ended up stumbling across a company that had like a really good education system and really good products, and was able to align with them and get educated. And then I just started feeling so much better in such a short amount of time. I was like, the world needs to know. Like,
Beautiful.
and my sister's kind of crunchy, and my stepmom is a little bit into some of this stuff. So let's get together and start teaching people. And then again, like, it's so interesting how things have evolved, because when you're sitting here talking about, emotions are not your friend like that, I've had pushed down the emotions up until pretty much last year. That's pretty much how I've operated until I use essential oils so that I can calm down, like, and get rid of kind of the emotions, not really to feel them and get better. And so now that I've gone through all my physical stuff and I'm able to, again, I have fibroids again, but I'm thriving through it because I have all these natural solutions. Like, I just got my blood work done, and the specialist that I work with, that's more natural, she was like, oh my goodness, all your numbers look amazing. But
That's
I'm
great.
eating exactly what my body tells me to eat, and I'm taking the supplements that I need, and like my hemoglobin is super high, even though I'm still excessively bleeding when I'm on my period and stuff like that. So, and I was actually, my hemoglobin went down to 7.4 because I didn't know, I didn't know that it was affecting me. And then within 2 months, I was able to get it up to 13.8 using all natural things and using food and supplements. So, it's just making, when I go through stuff, like, I share it. Like, again, this past couple weeks have been very rough for me. I actually had like a post-traumatic stress disorder breakdown in public with my friends, ruining a vacation. I'm like, and I'm publicizing it. Like, this is what happened. Like, you know, and processing those emotions. Like, I was in bed for 2 days because, like, how does the holistic wellness coach that teaches people how to calm down have a nervous breakdown in front of her friends because of a few triggers? Like, how does that happen, right? Like, and how do we, what tools do we do to get back up, and what tools will we do in the future so that it doesn't happen again and you don't affect other people with your issues?
No, and again, applauding your honesty, because unfortunately we live in a world dominated by social media and appearances, and there's an element of, to be happy, I need to be perfect. Well, the truth is, ain't nobody perfect. And, even as a child, I would question, who's shrinking the shrink? Like, who's there to help? If you're giving, who's helping you?
Exactly.
So, I became fascinated with the concept that to be truly great, you have to have done that work. You have to have been in the trenches. And you just, like Simone Biles or an ice skating couple, you make it look good. But you have to put that together. And, it sounds a bit cliche, but knowledge is power. So the fact that you went through and you learned what was happening to you, and you were able to connect the dots, there's a wealth of information out there. The only downside of that is, how do you know what's right and what isn't? And because there's no such thing as a cookie cutter solution for our health, we have to be willing to invest the time and sometimes the money, and that wherewithal of getting the knowledge to know what's going to make you better. And I just want to put a slight challenge out there. You didn't ruin anyone's vacation. The fact that you were able to be surrounded by friends and to learn from what happened. And like you said, be in a better position to have a different experience next time, that was a win. So,
Absolutely.
I think it's beautiful that you're sharing and you're able to learn from it. That's the key. If we beat ourselves up and think, I'm stuck and I don't know how to get past it, there is always a way. So,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I have I have, okay, well, I need more appointments with my neuroscience specialist so that I can reprogram some of these things. So I have
yeah,
less triggers. I'm going to go through the book Nonviolent Communication. I'm going to go through
nice.
the book How to Do the Work. So we have I have trauma issues that were exposed, and we
Yeah,
have a plan to address those
beautiful.
so that we can go forward.
And again, the fact that you were able to recognize that that's what it was, you know, I can only imagine the frustration when you're faced with this fear or a situation and you don't know what's happening. But the fact that you knew and that you have a plan, that's great. And in addition to getting all your contact information so our listeners can pursue connecting with you, learning from you, any of your resources that you're using that are helping you catapult, feel free to share those as well. We'll include that in the description so people can become powerful themselves and know that there's a lot of great resources out here. I am curious too, given that this pandemic has forced more people than ever to face unprecedented levels of anxiety, what have you found to be methods of coping with those raw emotions successfully? What works for you?
So number one is like you said, recognizing those emotions. That
Yeah,
I think that's the very first step.
yeah.
Making sure that you have a really good support system. Um, I'm doing things that I never did before. I'm an extreme extrovert. I like to leave
Mhm.
my house. I like to do stuff. I like to organize people going karaoke and going bowling. That's what I like to do. So I was not the person that spent tons of time on social media, but it was my only option. And so now I'm in Instagram groups and WhatsApp groups, and we do our little Zoom things to be safe and to do, follow the direction that we need to follow. And so I have my support system. And
Nice.
then just really investigate what natural solutions and support there are, because there are a lot. Like,
Nice.
we are amazingly and wonderfully made, and there are, you have, and I've done all of it. Like, I go to a place and I do gong therapy because I like music therapy, or I turn on, I just go on YouTube and look music for relaxation, and I do,
Nice.
you know music therapy. I do, so the sense of hearing, you can heal yourself through the sense of hearing. There's different touch therapies that you can do that will
Nice.
reprogram your brain and calm you down and give you more delta waves. There's aromatherapy. Like, I have essential oils for everything, and there's different herbs and supplements that can calm you down. I make sure that my vitamin D levels and my vitamin B levels and just other things that I take to make sure that my mind is sharp. And food, like, make sure you're eating the way that you need to. I, as a holistic wellness coach, have this amazing scan, and it uses biometric feedback, and it can use your voice, so you don't have to be in a place. You can do it virtually, and
Nice.
it tells you what your body is supposed to eat.
Beautiful.
And you run it every 2 weeks, so it adjusts. And so the funny thing is like, I've noticed that, oh, we tend to eat the same thing over and over, and so then when I eat too much of something, they'll be like, oh, eat less, eat more of
Mm.
this.
Hmm.
So it's just amazing, and I know it's one of the main reasons why all of my levels are the way that they need to be right now, because I've been eating exactly what my body wants. And I consider myself flexitarian, so I'm mostly plant-based, but
Okay.
again, because I have a current bleeding issue right now, I do eat meat during the week that my body needs more iron.
Makes sense.
So it's using the scan has actually gave me more variety, because I'm like, it gives all these fruits that I never tried before, and trying these different jams, and just trying different greens that you may not have tried before outside
Hmm.
of the normal five and stuff like that. So And then exercise. Everyone needs to exercise every day.
True.
Exercise is a great way to get
We gotta move.
endorphins. But yeah, just investigate. And again, I have over 800 videos. So on my YouTube,
Beautiful.
and I have a whole section on mental wellness and suggestions for specific things. And I did a series with a nonprofit about grief and loss during this time and stuff like that. So just look for resources.
Fantastic. And as you were sharing the element about music therapy, it made me think my father, he spent the last 40 days of his life in a coma. And of course, none of us saw that coming. He was in his early 50s. So, very young. And, when I arrived at the hospital and noticed, I overheard a conversation between some of the medical staff that first brain scan was not quite right. They were going to issue another one. And, we fought hard to get that second one done, but we came in prepared. I had my husband have a list of songs that my father had actually used to teach him how to dance when he was a child. So, I'm like, can we kill the elevator music? And the tech was like, what's that? I said, we have a list of his favorite songs ready. And then I was using what little I know of massage therapy on his head and on his neck and his shoulders. And within minutes, the tech is like, do that again. Do that again. And so although we didn't have the wherewithal to read those results, it was clear from the tech's reaction, he was getting activity, whereas my dad had been, ruled brain dead. And it was music and it was touch. So all these components, like you said, with us being wonderfully made, as the psalmist David penned, it's just, we are a testament every day that when you think you're broken, you can use the things around you to heal, and especially those things within you, if you just make the necessary adjustments. I also want to celebrate when you said you may not look like the typical crunchy person because of background or appearances, but that's the beauty too. Part of that being wonderfully made is there's so much variety, and we can celebrate that instead of being judgmental of that. And I think sometimes that's the best part of meeting new people. Some might assume certain things about you, but when you start talking and sharing that wealth of experience, well, they realize you're a force to be reckoned with. So, we're curious, given that you do a phenomenal job to keep moving, keep pushing, can you name 3 top sources of inspiration for you?
3 top sources of inspiration. Well, obviously, first and foremost, the Bible. Like, that's every single book is based on a line or a sentence. It's just that, unfortunately, we in our imperfect state, we can't extrapolate it. And so we need some other doctor to extrapolate how this works for us. Because even when it comes to the sense of smell, there's so many essential oils in the Bible, and there's so many things about it, and music therapy is in the Bible too, but we need other people to extrapolate. So first and foremost, of course, the Bible. Probably within the last year after that would be Brene Brown, because I think if she didn't exist, and I wasn't so focused on like my spiritual path as the focus, I'm like, I would either have been Cardi B or I would have been Brene Brown. I don't know which way I would have went. I would have been super screwed up because of my childhood. Or I would have found all the solutions. I would have been one or the other. I'm not sure which way I would have went.
There you go.
But I would have went one or the other. And so when she talks about like her Texas background and the, keeping it together and learning the vulnerability, like a lot of her quotes and a lot of the things that she does, like that super resonates with me. And then a third source of inspiration, right now, because I'm in so much like trauma work and things of that nature, the holistic psychologist, Nicole De La Perla, her Instagram and what she posts on an everyday basis is so resonating and so amazing to me. And now I'm going through her book in order to do some of the actual work as well. So that's probably the most recent too for me in the past couple years when it comes to my emotional growth and now trauma recovery.
Oh, that's beautiful. And when you reference the Bible and its wealth of advice, There's one that my mentor in the world of massage therapy would always emphasize, which is the life is in the blood.
Yeah.
And, it goes so many different ways. But when you mentioned earlier, we have to move, that element of circulation and, getting it oxygenated and getting that throughout every realm of us, it so matters. And so, whether that's brain health, heart health, I'm so glad that you referenced that. But yeah, all of those are great, great resources. And also curious because your ventures require giving of yourself constantly. So how do you fill up your proverbial tank when the needle's on E? Like, what do you do to reset?
So, and one of the things that I do appreciate now about a lot of the work that I've done is listening to my body, like
Mm,
really, really listening to my body. And I do plan my self-care. Without a doubt, I plan my self-care. Um, and even while I was on vacation, one of the reasons I think that what happened on Sunday is because I was rushed on Saturday and Sunday. I didn't get to do what I needed to do, but I wake up in the morning, I
mhm,
do my prayer, I
mhm.
read my scripture, I do my stretching. I actually have my affirmations recorded
Nice.
on here because I'm an audio learner, and so some people write out their affirmations. I have mine recorded and I play them while I'm doing my stretching.
Mhm,
I might do a little bit of touch therapy. I'll turn on my diffuser. So every single morning, I make sure that I set my mind correctly,
mhm.
and then I try to do some type of exercise. And it may be only 15 minutes of just some type of hip training for, core training or something like that. I go for a walk when it's warm. If it's over 45 degrees, I go for a walk every single day.
Mhm.
I have trees around my little condo and stuff like that, so I go for a walk every single day. And again, right now, while I still have my day job, which I'm desperately trying to get rid of, but it provides me extra income for right
A means
now.
to an end. Yeah.
Yeah, I do treat myself to massages, and I do have a gym membership where when everything is open, I can go to the sauna there. I host um, girls' nights, and so I get to do that. Forces me to once a month do my facials, and again, just listening to my body. Like again, this past week, I
Mhm,
had to process a lot of emotions, and
mhm.
so I took a nap 3 days in a row because it was like after I
Yay.
after I journaled and I cried and I did all this stuff, my body was like, I'm tired now. So I took a
Mhm,
nap 3 days in a row. I'm like, I don't take naps. I'm known as the high energy person, but
mhm.
me processing my emotions took things out of me. So, and then even I think before I knew that like I was actually anemic, I was anemic, but I wasn't realizing it because I was like pumping myself full of things. And I remember in the wintertime, I was like supposed to be so productive
Mhm.
because I was off work for a week and a half and I ended up doing nothing. But my body needed rest at the time, and I listened to what my body was doing. And
Good.
even now, I'm like looking at my house, I'm like, I need to clean. But I needed rest this past week, and so my house isn't as clean as it should have been after vacation, but listening to my body is more important than working myself to death just to have a clean house.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that goes back to that balancing act. It's as if we're all on a seesaw. And because we're not perfect, it's never going to be like this. You're going to be,
Yes.
and there's nothing wrong with that. But I love that you emphasize listen to your body. Because the
Yes.
thing is, if you don't, she will scream louder and louder and shut you down. So
Yep.
you might as well just listen when she's whispering, I need a
Yep.
break. Yeah, that's great. I'm curious too about what would you think is key to today's woman achieving her full potential, blossoming into the best version of herself? What would you say is really, really needed?
Um, some type of growth plan.
Mhm,
And the more that I move forward and try to do more things, I think that growth plan has to include what is your personal education, self-development, as well as what either community or coach you're going to work with.
nice.
Like I have tried to do things a lot on my own, And again, we're imperfect, and I can't get past my limiting beliefs without being in some type of group or
Mhm.
without having one-on-one coaching. I just can't. Like and again, the proof that I had this little breakdown, like I need one-on-one coaching
Mhm.
for the next 3 months in order to help me process what I'm learning from the books and to do the actual clear trauma recovery. Like, so to me, that is key to getting to your pinnacle, getting to, because it's a limiting belief because you can't see it. That's why
There
it's a
you go.
limiting belief. So you can read all the books, but if it's out of sight of your peripheral vision, you need to go to your other expert girls in this group setting, or you need to have some type of mentor, or you need to have some type of coach. Again, like you said before, who shrinks the shrinks? Like
Yeah.
somebody has to do it. Like,
Yeah.
so you have to have that clear growth plan. It's not, you can write down all the affirmations and all the goals that you want, but if you're not getting new input through whatever your self-development plan is and from outside sources so that you see those limiting beliefs, you're only going to go so far and so fast.
Amen. And it makes me think of, you can have someone who's sitting at a table spread for a king, but if they never lift the fork to their mouth, they're going to starve. You
Yeah.
know, you have to eat. And then there's a matter of, you are what you eat. What are you feeding your mind? And then there's the digestion. Are you
Yes.
processing it? So, like you
Yes.
said, you can take it all in, but if you're not doing anything with it, what good is it going to do? So, a couple more questions. First, which accomplishments are you most proud of?
Accomplishments. So, on my day job currently, the opportunities that I have had to actually teach other people and again bring the holistic wellness into the automotive world so that people
Nice.
can know, yeah, we can do this too. So like I have upcoming a lunch and learn that I'm going to do on deep breathing. And then collaborations like this and the education that I've been able to spread to other cultures, because again, I
Nice.
think it's so important. So like if you go on my YouTube channel, you will find that I have collaborations with white men and Asian women, and of course a lot of us and Hispanic women, and I have so much in Spanish because it's really important for me to bring this to the rest of the people. And the reality is I have a class that I did on secrets of ancient cultures. We the ones that started this. Like the Asians and the Native Americans in Africa
Mm-hmm.
started the herb stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
then we came to the United States and we've got it. So bringing all of that back and making sure that, and like the Asian chiropractor that I did one of the classes with, he's a break dancer. Like, and he's young. Like, making sure that you understand that this healthy lifestyle is for everybody and you should start it young, and it's the way that you're going to be able to be vibrant and thrive. Like I am imperfect, but I'm vibrant and thriving with a chronic illness. Like
Beautiful.
I'm thriving right now.
Mm-hmm.
And with going through trauma recovery, like 95% of the time, I feel amazing. I feel ecstatic and happy. Like when people, they're like, you always say wonderful when you answer the phone, because that's what I am. Like people ask all the time, are you like this all the time? No, I'm like this 95% of the time. I really wasn't like this last week, but 95% of the time I'm like this. So bringing that in a culturally diverse way to other people, understanding that, and making sure that I create content and material and I collaborate with people that look different so that people know this is for men, this is for Asians, this is for Hispanics, this is for African Americans, this is for everybody.
Beautiful. I mean, we all want to live the best life possible. So I really, really love how you celebrate that cross pollination. You don't want to keep it in one lane. And, you think of, by collaborating with all these wonderful individuals, you're breeding something new. And it's just wonderful to be a part of that and to know that you've got so much more coming. Curious too, because I know another expression of my mentor is, the way that you take care of your body today determines how your body takes care of you tomorrow.
Yes.
So given that, as you said, there's going to be that 5% of the time where life's going to hand you lemons. what would you say serves as your motivation to keep going through the rough patches?
Looking back on the times that you've overcome, right? Like, so we started this process, and that where you talked about that digestion and that reflection.
Mm-hmm.
We started this process when I talked about track. I knew that I could get to the end of it. I knew that, and even in this past week, it was like I felt like, man, it's probably been 8 years since I had a public breakdown. This is not me. And I'm around a whole bunch of people who this is the first time that they saw me, and they think I'm a psycho. Like, this is actually not me. This is not, like, this has been 8 years since I've had something like this happen. And just reflecting on that and being like, but you got through. Like, the quote that, like, guess what? You've survived every hard day up until now.
There you go.
So if you've survived every hard day up until now, you're going to survive today. Like, you're going to be able to get up. It's going to be better. As long as you reflect, digest, create a plan for action. Even when this health issue hit me again, it was kind of off kilter too. Like, I went to the doctor and they're like, "Oh, you got fibroids again." And it's like, I've been doing all the things, I've been eating, I've been telling people how they can have wonderful hormones. And then I went to the doctor in February and they're like, "I don't know how you're standing right now. You have no iron in your system and your hemoglobin is at 7.4. Like, I don't even understand how you're standing up right now." That was a little bit defeating, like, oh, okay. But again, I've been here before. I know I have the tools to move forward. So we got knocked down 10 rungs emotionally last week. We got knocked down physically 5 rungs. But we have a plan and we have a system. And we're just going to put one foot in front of the other and go back up to the ladder. Because we're not starting from zero this time. We're starting with information and we're starting with tools. And so your progress is going to be faster. And so, yes, you're going to go backwards or you're going to get knocked down, but your recovery is going to be so much faster because you have so much more support and tools and information.
Wonderful. Not to mention, if you start here, you get knocked down, you're starting at a higher level. So when you grow, you're going to be higher.
Yes.
It's like, so you're ever reaching new pinnacles to the point that you can fly, but you just have to get up. So, I remember the time I was, blessed with the friendship, and she faced a lot of health hurdles as well, some that were very scary. And I was standing by her bedside when her hemoglobin dropped to 3.5.
Oh, wow.
And, she had to have a very difficult conversation with me about, I can't say this to my family, so I'm going to say it to you if I don't come out of this. And I said, I don't want to hear it.
Right.
I just don't want to hear it. But she was strong enough to tell me what her wishes were, what she needed done, because you can't take a day for granted, Right. And I'm relieved to say she made it through that. She's doing phenomenal. But, when you come face to face with your mortality and you realize that, you've made it through some rough patches, you can get through yet another one. We are bigger than we can imagine. So, I'm so glad that you're continuing to use all those resources and to share them. So, last question, if you could turn back time 20 years, what advice are you giving your younger self? What are you saying to Tashena, and to make sure that she gets through the next 20 years and beyond?
Keep going. Really, just keep going. I've always been on the path of self-development. So, again, with the rough childhood that I had, I sat in a psychology class at 19 and I got the revelation that, you know what, there's these things that are the program and Pavlov's theory, and when you have negative things happen to you and this, that, and the other. And so I got it in my head back then, like, okay, I'm not really that screwed up. This is just like normal reaction when you have stuff like this happen. And so ever since then, I've always read self-development books. And again, knowing that it's all, as long as it's rooted in the Bible and as long as it's not out there, as long as it's rooted in some universal truth, I'm good with it. And so, I would just say keep going on that path, because as long as you keep learning and doing all those steps, right, digesting and applying it, you're going to get to where you need to be.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, again, it's been such an honor to have you join us here today. If we have those in the listening audience that want to get in touch with you, do you have an email, website, social media that you want to share? I will have that information in the description, but just in case they want to hear it audio, what are the ways that they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel, again, that has over 800 videos, 200 of which are in Spanish on all types of different topics, is just my name. So Tashena Gonzales for Gonzales. So you just hop on YouTube, click subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. I do Feel Good Fridays every Friday, so there's always new content on a weekly basis, as well as a lot of times I do weekly classes, including the one that we're going to do together on the 28th. So they want to be subscribed so they can get the replay of
Yes,
that.
you don't want to miss it.
And then Instagram is where I usually do my lives. And so you can follow me on Instagram, and that is Sweet Canela 5, which means sweet cinnamon. So SweetCanela 5 is how you find me on Instagram. And then just message me and I can send you any other additional information. It's easiest for me to just send you my website, and then it has all of my links, how to find me on Facebook, how to find my classes, how to have an appointment with me, because I'm always willing to do, one consultation and direct you exactly what videos you might want to watch. Or,
Beautiful.
I do a very specified self-development thing through Strength Finders. And, I offer friends and family discounts. And if you just need one session, then I'll try to work something out with you. But usually the best way to do it is like with 12 sessions. But so yeah, hit me up via Instagram, just send me a message and I can send you my website to get all the good stuff.
Well, amazing, amazing. And, a lot of great reminders here that the more you give, the more you get. So everyone, please remember, take care of yourself and hold the ones you love closer than ever. Show that love. Give more of it, and that's where your happiness will just blossom. So wishing you all safety and wellness. Again, Tashena, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to share this video and like, comment, and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at New You Wow. Until next time, stand tall in your power and remember, your belief in yourself is your superpower.